Biden, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks, man. Big fan.
I can't believe you're a fan.
Why?
I don't know. It's wild to me that you're a fan. Yeah, man. I'm finding, I pretty much interviewed almost everybody that's on the Trump admin now.
Yeah.
And that kind of, I think people people got maybe the wrong impression of me that I agree with everything that side of the aisle says, and I don't. But we did.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you in trouble. I got the exact opposite impression.
Right on. Yeah. But I don't know. There's just some, who else? Elizabeth Warren's team listens to my show a lot. That really, really surprised me.
Okay. So here's why. Is that you're a great listener. And I think that the authentic way in which you listen and respond leads me to believe that that you're just open. Like you're open to information. And you're not judging it as it's coming over the transom, unless it's just fucking outrageous, or somebody's being hateful or lying or insincere. And, I was saying to those guys out there, I watch you do I've watched everything, not everything, but I've watched, a lot of it. I really do. I listen to you while I paint and the thing that always comes across to me with you is that fundamentally you have like a core set of beliefs, of values. And they're the same values I have. I mean, and maybe that's a shock or a surprise, but I was saying to you guys out there, like we all think that, if you're a Republican or Democrat, that we got nothing in common. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you what I was raised with, what I try to, obviously I try and I've failed in many respects. And failed in my addiction and sometimes fail in my sobriety and being the man that I aspire to be. But I care about my family. I care about my friends. I care about my community. I care about my country. And I care about my faith. And I'm, maybe being presumptuous. I think that's what you care about. And I don't mean that as like some saccharine bullshit, but our prescription of how to make all those things better may be different, and those are the things that we used to argue about.
Yeah.
I'd grown up, the majority of my friends were all Republicans, I aspired, my heroes were you guys, the people that served, like my brother, like you, and so anyway, my point is, I don't think, I don't know why you'd be shocked other than by the impression that's been left about me. I don't know.
I think I'm shocked because I'm dealing with this shit, man. You grew up in this, in politics, and
I didn't grow up in this though, Shawn.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is it's just, man, it's so fucking politicized now. And so you think that the Republican Democrat, which I don't even fucking know what it means to be a Republican anymore, to be honest with you. I think everything's just so far off base now that I don't even know. I have conservative values, and that's all I can say anymore, but it's just become so divisive that it appears that the decision has already been made for you, to most people, on who you can associate with, who you can watch, who you can take information from, and who you can't. And while I don't, and will never again fall into those fucking lines. I think a lot of people, I think a lot of people can't, they can't see past it. And some things have happened to me too, since I've
Yeah.
been in this game of fucking podcasting and started diving into politics. And, what I've realized is that, whatever the mainstream media determines the narrative is going to be about you, that's what it's going to be. Whether it
Yeah.
has
Tell me about it, brother. Yeah.
Exactly, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
I am not a MAGA cultist. I don't agree with everything that that comes out of that whatever political movement. In fact, as time moves on, I agree with less and less of it. But, but if you look at the mainstream media, the first thing they put in front of my fucking name every single fucking time is MAGA influencer, MAGA podcaster, mega podcast, MAGA podcaster, Shawn Ryan. It's like, where do you come up with this shit?
Yeah.
But so anyways,
Well, maybe I
why,
missed some interviews.
that's why.
I start getting nervous.
Nah, I mean, I don't think you've missed much.
No, I haven't.
mean,
I've watched you.
Wear my heart
look,
on my sleeve.
I have serious disagreements with people that have been really, really, I think, objectively like cruel to me. Like Tucker's been objectively cruel to me, and I know that you're friends with Tucker. I used to know Tucker. I wasn't friends with Tucker. But I think that we're all we should all have a common enemy. And the truth of the matter is, it's not any politician or federal government worker. Who's benefiting right now? Who? Whether the Democrats are in control of Congress or whether the Republicans are, who ultimately seems to be benefiting?
Well, I can tell you who's not benefiting.
Not normal people.
Yeah.
Not regular guys, not the guys you served with, not the guys that I went to high school with, not the, nobody that I know. The people that are benefiting are the people that seem to have always, some way, avoid the consequences and win. And that's, the 0.1%. And it's not even the 1% anymore. I mean, it's like literally and I'm not saying, all billionaires are evil. I'm not saying that. I promise you. But I am saying that from my vantage point, we are all the victims of the algorithms that they have caged us in. Every one of us. And we are why are we all so mad at each other? I don't understand. This bad politics never used to be like this. It didn't be like, I'll tell you why. Where's the phone? Like, you pick up your phone, man. And then people are incentivized. People that we used to trust are incredibly incentivized in a very perverse way to make me hate you, to label you, Shawn. You're a vet, special ops. You have a inside view of that. You have conservative values. And so therefore, at one point or another, you supported, some of the things that Donald Trump was saying and the people that surrounded him. And so therefore, you know what you are? You're my fucking enemy. You're my enemy. I shouldn't be sitting here.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The one thing I've come to the conclusion of, because my own experience, is such a bunch of bullshit. Such a bunch of bullshit. I wish people would just wake up.
I know, man.
Wake up, man. Remember your neighbor. Remember your neighbor, who, by the way, may have voted for Donald Trump, but didn't vote for this. Didn't vote for this. Now, I could have told him. Maybe. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But I saw one of your shows where you talked about, like, some days it feels like we're really on the verge of real violence. Not this, what do they call it? Stochastic violence? Not these kind of, the seemingly endless violence that we witness as it relates to what just happened to Rob Reiner, to his son, or what happened to Charlie Kirk, or what happened to the students at Brown University, or what happened to the people celebrating Hanukkah on Bondi Beach, you know. And by the way, that was all what, except for Charlie Kirk, within the past day. But beyond that violence, I saw you talking to somebody about it. Like, are we going to be picking up guns?
Well, what I think what you're referring to is, you see all this talk about revolution,
Civil
civil
War.
war, all this
Yeah.
type of shit. And I mean, if you think about, how would you destroy the United States of America? I mean, I don't think that you destroy it by kinetic war. I don't think you nuke it. I don't think you send in troops. I don't think do a
This is the
naval
way.
battle. You divide them because, I mean, there are more guns
Yeah.
in this country. And I'm a gun owner and I'm a fucking pro 2A guy. Don't ever try to take my damn guns. But,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I mean, there are so many here that if there was an adversary that was successful in dividing us so much so that it actually ended up in kinetic war, nobody could come in. You can't even send a country to come in here to aid because there are so many fucking guns. And I spent 14 years in Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, all over the Middle East. They don't have half the damn guns that we have in this country. And there are places there that you're fucking dead if you go outside. And maybe you're dead if you don't go outside.
Yeah.
And this here
Yeah.
would be way worse.
Oh, 100%.
Way worse than that. If when the desperation sets in, people start getting hungry, cold, they need warm clothes, they need food, they need water, they need medication. Like when the system fucking breaks
Okay,
down,
guys.
this will be the most dangerous place in the entire world,
I
without a
100%
doubt.
agree. I 100% agree. And so, you know, that's why I asked the question, who's benefiting? And one thing I know that who's benefiting from what's happening in our country right now is the immediate answer to that is our adversaries, our most obvious adversaries, Russians, Chinese, and a cadre of other actors that I think sometimes pretend that they're our allies, but would just as well see us burn. And then who else is benefiting? The only people that are doing better and have consistently amassed wealth to a degree that has never been seen before in human history are the oligarch class of the Elon Musks and the Peter Thiels and and a whole host of other people. And I'm not just picking them out, and Jeff Bezos and so there's a very, very, very finite, infinitesimal in terms of numbers of people that are benefiting to a degree that we've never witnessed before, except one other time, which was in the turn of the century, in like the 1900s, early 1900s, late 1800s, and with the Gilded Age and J.D. Rockefeller and the Standard Oil and that period of time. And I think to myself, well, what's the solution right now? Well, I think first thing is the realization that, there's no savior coming. There's no Christ character of some political bent that is going to come and, fix everything, and going to allow people to begin to talk to each other across the fence and, across the dinner table in any, near future that we have. But if the problem can't be solved politically, then how's it going to be solved? because it ain't getting any better. And if you have, if these people that I watch on your shows, and I'm a armchair expert like everybody else on AI, but if you just listen to the people that are actually building these things, what is it? They think that there's a 20 to 30% chance that super intelligence could cause a mass extinction event, and they think that we're going to reach AGI in the next 3 years, and that AGI basically means that we're going to have anywhere from 70 to 90% unemployment, and and so at a time in which we're, as a human race, making an evolutionary step that is never, that supersedes every other evolutionary step that's ever occurred before, what is the most important thing that we could have? Leadership. And what do we have? We have utter and complete chaos right now. And at least from my perspective. And I don't, so I think, well, what can we do? Well, I listen to you. I listen to you talk to people that I don't necessarily in any obvious way agree with. Some, by the way, who have been really cruel to me personally. But I listen and try to figure out, is there any way that we can see eye to eye? Because we all need to wake up, man. Because what's the alternative? What's the alternative other than the
what we just talked
dystopic
about?
Vision that you just talked about?
Well, I think the unfortunate thing, Hunter, is a lot of people are hoping for that to happen, but they've never lived in that. So they don't know really what that's going to be like. And I don't even know what the fuck that's going to be.
There's a lot of tough guys out there.
But
a lot of tough guys that think that they, they think that they, because they own some of the guns that you've shot in places where they will never have been, including myself. Let me give you an example. And I know that we're not the one thing I promised myself that I wouldn't do is I think people are so sick. Like, who gives a shit what Hunter Biden thinks about politics right now? But I can tell you just I can only talk about it from my personal experience and being witness to it in a very intimate way, and being a victim of it in some ways, and not a victim of it. That's a pretty lame way to say it. Being trapped by it, caged by it in many ways, not by any choice of my own. The president just put out that tweet, okay, or whatever they call it, about Rob Reiner, okay? And somebody trying to break down the...
I don't know what the fuck that was.
They're storming the gates. They know I'm in here. They're going to rip you off air. Yeah. Well, anyway, the president put out that True Social thing, and everybody's like, God, it's just such horrible taste, and it's beneath the president. And, he basically blaming Rob Reiner's murder and his wife Michelle's murder on the fact that he is of Trump derangement syndrome. Everybody says, it just like, has he lost his mind? Does he have, dementia and this and that? And, he's, and I think he knows exactly what he's doing. And what he's doing is this, what he's always done, is he's giving people a permission structure. Rob Reiner died violently because he opposed me. And I wish his family well, rest in peace. That's what he's saying. And in so doing, I think what he's basically saying is, you know what? Like, stand in my way, and this is what happens. And So 90% of people, I really believe 90% of people, even his supporters, 90% of his supporters goes like, oh, why did you say that? That's so cruel. 10%, what they hear is he got what he deserved. And I see him do that over and over again. And it really worries me. And by the way, I'm not saying that there aren't people on the left that do the same goddamn thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it is, you know, it turns my stomach then.
Yeah,
I
it
think
really
the difference
is.
is the president. President has a responsibility. I think the most important responsibility of a president is not the, you know, other than, the question of, the deployment of force is the tone that he sets for the country. More than any law, more than anything. It's just the tone that he sets.
I'm with you. I mean, it's just, it does though. It comes from, it's not just him. I mean, with the Charlie Kirk stuff and with the, other assassination attempt on him and Butler, which actually they shut down the investigation on that for whatever reason. I don't know why you wouldn't want to know who tried to fucking kill you, but whatever, right? Nothing to see here. But I mean, when you have a political party that's continuously saying you're a Nazi, a fascist, Nazi, fascist, Nazi, he's like Hitler, you know what I mean? And then you got assassination attempts all over the fucking country, and it's
I know, but
like
Sean,
I said at the
I'm
beginning.
not. Look, I don't want to get into like the argument over and I really mean it. But like, I hear you, I hear what you're saying, but part of me also says you don't want to be called a fascist. Don't act like a fascist. And what I mean by fascism is this: is deputizing a largest federal police force in history to go on America's streets masked without warrants and drag pregnant women out of their cars in the snow and kneel on their backs, of sending people to prisons, death camps in El Salvador with no due process. I promise you that I believe this with all my heart, is that you and I don't have any distance between us in what we think about immigrants and immigration. How many immigrants did you serve with?
How many what?
Immigrants did you serve with?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. Amazing people, right? How about in your personal life? How many people around here or that are in this community that you're in, or when you were growing up, that are from immigrants? By the way, that may have bent the rules to be able to get in here, and they shouldn't have. And they should probably leave if they did. But I don't think that we have any disagreement that one of the things that makes this country an incredible country is immigration.
Yeah.
30% of every new business in the United States annually is started by an immigrant. 35% of the Fortune 100 CEOs in the United States of America, top 100 companies in America, are immigrants.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I don't think, I guess I shouldn't, I can't even fucking say, I don't think anybody, for myself, with the immigration thing, I think for me, the issue with the immigration stuff is how it's prioritized. So I'll give you an example. I know we need immigrants. I mean, we're building a studio, ice rolls through town. We couldn't get anybody to fucking work to finish building this out. And this is about 3 months old. But point being, I mean, we have to have them. We have to have them. They are they are the worker base now. It just is
also
what the
the
fuck it
engine
is.
to our economy.
But what I will say is, when it comes to the prioritization, the stuff that I'm talking about, I mean, I think for me specifically, I got no problem with immigration, and I think what's going on right now is also a fucking disaster. I think that before we go in and deport every single person that's come here, I think we need to fix the system this system on how you get in. It's fucked up. People can't get in. Good people can't get in. You know what I mean? But what's happened from my perspective, what I see is, you look, Hunter, we got all these guys coming home and women, from Iraq, Afghanistan, Yemen, 20 fucking plus years of war, right? Most of these people can't even get help in the VA. Can't even fucking get that. You know what I mean? Everybody knows there's a veteran suicide epidemic. It's 22 a day. It's been going on for more than a decade.
Yep.
We have a major suicide epidemic going on with veterans. We have a major addiction problem going on with veterans, PTSD, traumatic brain injury. I mean, you name it. Our people that spent 20 plus fucking years protecting this country can't get the help they need. But if you flip on the news, all you see is free hotels for immigrants in New York.
But Shawn,
free health care.
Shawn,
free this,
I don't
free
disagree
that.
with
It's
you,
like,
but
fuck, man. Like we that's real pain fighting for this fucking country.
I got
you know what I mean?
I got it. If that's the dichotomy that you're presented with, okay. But again, I'll say this. You know what? That's your algorithm, man. Okay? Because here's the deal. Is that no one that I know of, okay, that would say that they're a Democrat. I don't even know if I'm a Democrat anymore. I don't know if I'm a part of any political, because it's just like, pox on all your houses, in my opinion. But not that you shouldn't engage in the political process. It's like, I'm just talking about the parties. I think it's like imperative that we don't give up on politics as a solution. We got to. Because what's the alternative? I mean, truly, if the politics and process aren't a solution to our problems, that the only solution to is who wins. In a zero-sum game, who wins? Guns. And that violence that you talked about. But if you think that, and I don't want to make all this about political, I know that the people that you brought through here really, really care about the issues that you just talked about. I care about them. I know my dad did. I know 100% he did, about veterans, about what's happening at the VA, about the addiction problem, about the suicide rate among veterans. I'm absolutely certain that he did. And so that's why he did the PACT Act. That's why he did a whole host of other things as it relates to veterans. But I'm not going to, I don't want to get into my dad's policy prescriptions, because then everybody just turns off.
Yeah.
But I can say this, is that nobody right now is in any way making even remotely a credible argument that if we stop giving immigrants free hotel rooms, then we'd be able to prioritize veterans instead. Like, what a bunch of bullshit. Like, of course that's what you prioritize.
Yeah.
Of course that's what you do. And not only that, is that, okay, let's agree with this. The system is fucking broken. Completely broken. So let's get together and do a bipartisan legislation as it relates to it. And let's get the most conservative senator in the United States, one of the most conservative senators in the United States Senate, to come up with a plan that his caucus will accept and that he can sell to the Democrats. And let's create a piece of legislation that a sitting president will sign into law, that will at least begin to address some of these problems, some of the inequities on both sides that are occurring. And what do we do? James Inhofe did that. Republican Party in the United States Senate did that. They got an agreement with the Republicans in Congress and the House side that they would vote for the legislation. And then Donald Trump stepped in 6 months before the election and told them that he was going to primary every single one of them that voted for that. Because we're addicted to the problem. And the people, when you say you turn on the TV and what you see is a sea of disinformation, some of it real, about the bullshit, over abundance of resources that immigrants are taking out of the United States. And what do I see when I turn on my TV or open up my phone? I see the exact opposite.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're both addicted to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody's talking about the solution. And there's not somebody in politics right now that is, I think there are some people, but I don't think that we should expect somebody to come in and save us.
I don't either. If I'll be honest with you, I fucking have given up.
Yeah.
Like I
But here's my problem.
Yeah.
My problem is, and I guess this goes to the reason why when you said you're surprised that I listen, I'm surprised that I'm not surprised. I understand where you're coming from on that. Don't you think I want to?
Sorry?
I said, don't you think I want to figure out a solution to the immigration
I think
issue?
a lot of people do.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Don't you think Gavin Newsom wants to figure out? Now, I assume that anybody that's running for president, if they could fix the immigration issue, would try to fix the immigration issue. Right? Because we need immigration. We need a vibrant immigration. But we don't want immigrants that are coming here illegally, draining us of resources, and also and being prioritized above people that are actual literal heroes that are coming home, or that are still recovering from 20 years of endless war, or anybody else in our society, right?
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's talking past each other.
Hey everybody, I want to talk to you about Rocket Money. Managing your finances takes time. Canceling old subscriptions, tracking expenses, and sticking to a budget. Luckily, Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you, automatically finding you ways to save and simplifying the process. Less stress, more free time, and a clearer path towards financial freedom, all in one app. When I first signed up, I was shocked. Rocket Money showed me subscriptions I had totally forgotten about, like 2 old streaming trials that were auto-renewing. They helped me see all of them in one place, and I was able to get those unnecessary charges cut immediately. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. They don't just find the forgotten stuff, though. Rocket Money will even try to negotiate lower bills for you. That means they'll talk to customer service, so you don't have to. Bottom line, Rocket Money has saved users over $2.5 billion, including over $880 million in canceled subscriptions alone. Their members save up to $740 a year. It's making a real difference in my budget, and it can in yours too. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/SRS today. That's rocketmoney.com/SRS. rocketmoney.com/SRS. I mean, you know, when you talk about nobody's coming to save us, there is no Christ-like figure coming, but then you also say we can't totally abandon politics as a way to fix the problem. I think that's what you said.
I know, and I realize that it is a oxymoronical, I guess, right? So but I'm trying to figure it out, and the only thing that I can think of is conversations like this, and not that I'm in any way important, but I really, really think that some people that have skin in the game, whether by any virtue of what they're doing in terms of their professional life or their political aspirations, or that have been thrust into it, whether they chose to or not, have an obligation to say, I find that I have more in common. I'm positive that I have more in common with Shawn Ryan, who's considered by whoever incorrectly as a MAGA influencer than I do than I don't have in common with them.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I think that
I think I just fucked you over. I think there's a chance on the edit that you're going to want to take that part out. But no, but I'm being serious. Is it?
I think we all have a lot more in common with each other
Yeah.
than we don't.
Yeah.
And so I'm 100% with you on that. And but you know, you got to have a conversation to find out the answer, and people aren't doing that. So,
No.
but well, Hunter, I want to do a life expose on you, and starting from birth all the way to now, and obviously there'll be some tough questions, but I think we will hit every array of emotions out there. I think we'll get some laughs, some sadness, some happiness, some anger, and I think it's going to make a great interview. So once again, I just want to say thank you for coming. I've really been looking forward to this. So,
Thank you.
but
Me too.
but in other news, if you see my beef with Dan Crenshaw, he's going to sue me, Hunter.
I know
He's
you're
going to
fucked.
sue me.
I'm sorry, buddy.
But so.
I would.
So
I would
you're
try.
a Yale-educated attorney.
Yeah.
Can you give us a legal analysis breakdown of the Dan Crenshaw lawsuit against Shawn Ryan?
Well, technically, I've been disbarred, so I have to say
I
that.
saw that.
Yeah, I have to say that. It's very technically, meaning I've been disbarred. So, look, to be serious about it, is it, like, what are you even talking about? Like, I've followed this, and it's the same. I don't know whether that these people that are become so high on their own supply think, and the people that like are like the sucker fishes that attach to them, like these lawyers, think that in any way they're sending you a bullshit letter, demand letter, was going to do anything but make you say, fucking try me. I mean, what the hell, man? I mean, look, there's a bunch of things that you could do. Like, number one, it seems to me that you potentially could sue him right now.
Really?
Yes. And that's, for instance, that's what Michael Wolff did with the First Lady, is that she continued to threaten him like they threatened me. And my response to that was, bring it on. Like, you want to go through a discovery process with me in which I get to depose you, the president, and every person that you were associated with while you were friends with Jeffrey Epstein. Like, you want to do that, then I'm willing to do that. I'm going to need a GoFundMe, but you know what I mean? But I'm willing to do that. And I never heard from them again. Okay. And I didn't say anything that Michael Wolff didn't, but they continued to send Michael Wolff letters. And whatever you think about Michael Wolff, is that Michael Wolff basically said, is that threatening someone with a lawsuit that is engaged in protected speech, particularly when who you're speaking about is a sitting United States congressman, which basically you can say whatever the fuck you want about him, no matter what. That's America. You know what I mean? Seriously. Is that it's called abusive process and potentially tortious interference, meaning that he's attempting to interfere with your business. Mm-hmm. So, but if you want to engage him, you could potentially, and I'm not positive, but preemptively sue him for fucking with you, and it seems to me that I saw his response, and I don't know Dan Crenshaw from anything.
I think Dan had a bad night.
He really had a bad night, and I don't get it. Like, what? Like, if you're gonna respond after you made a threat of a lawsuit, then you file the lawsuit. If you truly believe that you want to go through the process of sitting down for a however many day deposition and going through every stock trade that you've made since you became a United States congressman, and the information that you may have received or not received as it related to the companies whose stock you're trading, along with what you said to every member of SEAL Team 6 and what they said back to you when you said, I've been talking to, my boys at 6. It's like, I'll tell you what, I don't see how any reasonable person that would receive a text like that would not think, like, are you threatening me?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know anybody that reasonable. And I certainly know that there's not a jury in the world that wouldn't believe that. So the notion that that is unreasonable for you to come to that conclusion, or thought that maybe that's what he was trying to say. And anyway, it's just a number one, you got nothing to worry about, but it may be an opportunity for you also.
That's good to hear.
It's kind of the way that I view these things.
I don't really enjoy legal warfare, but I got to be honest, this one, it's like,
it's horrible.
Let's do the discovery, Dan.
Yeah.
I would love to dive into your financial history as a congressman.
Yeah.
You know what
and
I
it's
think
much
happened?
more, by the way, and it's much broader than that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I had a guy that
He's also like actively threatening to kill people online.
Yeah.
Like he threatened to kill, or he's like, if I ever see Tucker, I'll kill him.
I saw that.
And then he said, I'm not joking.
No, I know.
So why wouldn't I take, but,
I don't know. See, that's the thing that I don't get is, anyway, the broader picture is this license that people think that they have, particularly in Congress, to hide behind the speech and debate clause. Now, the fact of the matter is if he had been smart, he should have gone to the floor of the House, the House of Representatives, and he could have talked about you as much as he wanted to. But the idea that he would send you a private DM with with that kind of like oblique or direct threat, who knows?
Just boys at 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't have any insight into your world, other than having watched you, having watched the men. I just watched that interview with Jocko and a number of others that you have interviewed, many of which are right at the till of the hunt. But you don't I come away with the impression of this is the one thing that they care about more than anything is the bond that they have that you guys have with each other, and like a code of loyalty that means. And I can't imagine anyone would have been too impressed with somebody saying that publicly or privately to the member, and not just go like, well, that is really weak sauce, man. And I'm reading way too much into anything.
I think are you familiar with Polymarket?
Only from listening.
It's like a predictive.
Yeah, I mean, I literally from listening to some of the
prediction market.
Yeah,
they actually did a thing on this. They only give Dan a 9% chance that he actually sues me. So we both battled addiction, right?
Yeah.
I've spent many a nights where I've made shitty decisions and woken up the next morning going, oh, fuck.
By the way,
I think Dan did that 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, by the way, I really do too.
You know,
and so in that sense, I have a little bit of a like maybe somebody in his life.
Yeah,
I
I feel bad for him too. I hope Dan can put the bottle down. I mean, he can't even do international travel right now because he's such a fucking lush.
Oh, is that true?
It's really bad. It's really bad.
No,
he's not allowed. He's not allowed to
how many
travel.
defamation suits I'm involved in right now? You're sucking me into another one. I can't afford it, man.
No, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Okay,
maybe you'll get a letter
Shawn
too.
Ryan,
We'll see each other in court.
Know. Exactly. I sued a guy. Okay, Patrick Byrne, the Overstock guy. Okay, he wrote this thing and said that I was the person responsible for releasing the $8 billion in sanctioned Iranian money that was being held by the South Koreans, and I took a 10% fee for doing so. and put it in, bank accounts around the world. And that was the money that was used to fund Hamas's attack on Israel on October 7th,
Holy
resulting in the
shit.
death of 1,400 people. You know how many things people have said about me that are like, I mean, on your show, by the way.
I'm aware.
Yeah, I know you are, motherfucker. Yeah, I know. So he says this craziness, okay? And I'm like, I said to one of my lawyers, I was like, just please, can someone help me sue this guy? And anyway, I found somebody to do it on contingency, an incredible lawyer, Dick Arputlian. And we went to, and he said, I'm going to get him and I'm going to go after him. And this is Byrne. He goes on all these shows and he says he has tapes and he has the FBI informant and he has the former DEA agent and he's got the Iranian spy who he's going to bring in. He doesn't even show up to the trial. He refuses to come to the trial.
Are you
He
serious?
fires all his lawyers the day before we're supposed to begin picking a jury. He doesn't produce anything. Okay. He literally doesn't produce anything. A default judgment is filed against him. And, but now I'm like 2 years into this. I mean, it's been since
Are you
then.
serious?
2 years into this and we still don't have a full thing. And the court is going to decide about punitive damages. And so in between the time he gets the default judgment and the court is to decide, he goes back on Alex Jones and repeats the entire thing over.
Are you serious?
Over again. Yeah. They just do this stuff with impunity. But the whole reason I tell this story is your instinct is right. It's awful. Litigation sucks. I've been tied up in criminal and civil and in courts. And, I got, I don't know, 14, 15 million dollars in debt that I have no idea that how I'm going to be able to pay off. I have, millions of dollars in debt, that, nobody's riding to the rescue for Hunter Biden. My dad, entered the presidency as the poorest man to ever take the office, and he left the presidency, not poorest. I mean, which he's fine, but, we have no generational wealth. I don't have any, despite what these guys say, there's no billions of dollars buried underneath my dad's house in Delaware. And so what I think these people rely on is they are so, they either have the money and they just hire people to go harass people through the legal process. Like Trump does that a lot. I mean, that's for real. Or they just don't care. And because litigation, even civil litigation, like what you're talking about, it just overwhelms your life. Mm-hmm. I mean, the depositions that you have to sit through and to prepare for, and then you got to go through, if you're suing for damages, then you got to sit down with a psychologist of their choice to go through your entire life. And, it puts you in a really uncomfortable position. And then you're dependent upon the idea that your lawyers are going to have, be able to make it through the process, the motions process and the motions practice and 3 years later you wake up and you go, what the fuck did I do this for? And so my suggestion is that I think that you got the response. I think you won already. Okay. And I know that you didn't enter this with the intention of winning anything, is that you were stating a fact based upon your own personal experience, and obviously the personal experience of some of the people in the community that you come from that have a real disdain for this guy, and the way that they were treated by him in his position of authority. And so you speak a truth, what you believe to be a truth, or ask a question that's worthy of asking about anybody that is in a position of power, which is the right of every American to do. And you do that. And his response is to send you a letter from his lawyers to tell you he's talking to his boys at 6, and then to get on and saying, that you're a liar and this and that. And so we'll just let it go now.
And challenge me to an interview?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Hunter,
Yeah.
I invited him on the fucking show in the original thing. And then after that, he challenges me to an interview. It's like, well, Dan, you didn't really have to challenge me. I know you feel tough doing it. I'm sure you feel real tough doing it in front of your, 6 followers that aren't bashing you right now.
Yeah.
But I already fucking invited you, so you didn't have to do that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's my point, is that if he thought that there was a value in him actually sitting down with you, then he can get on a plane like I did, fly his ass into Nashville, and come to the studio and sit down with you. You know? And so I don't think that's going to happen, though, Shawn.
We'll see. Man, I fucking hope it does.
I'm just taking bets. We'll have to look at Polymarket after this. To
I
see.
know, right?
Yeah.
I think they're going to do another one.
Yeah.
I'll bet they do another one.
Well, actually, what we're going to I want to look at is Polymarket right now of whether or not you're going to get canceled after you air this interview with me.
I'll bet the answer's no.
No, I bet you. I hope so.
But all right, Hunter, I want to get into your story. So everybody starts with an introduction. Hunter Biden, son of the 46th president of the United States, Joe Biden, and the late Nelia Biden, and the anniversary of her death is tomorrow. That happened
18th, 2 days.
53 years ago.
Yep, that's right.
I'm really sorry, man.
Yeah.
And survived a car accident in 1972 that killed your mother and babysitter. Worked as a lawyer, businessman, lobbyist, and naval officer. A recovering drug addict who's been sober for over 6 years. Like I said earlier, congratulations.
Thanks, man.
You've turned art into a form of therapy and recovery from addiction. Author of the best-selling memoir, Beautiful Things, happily married to Melissa, and you're a father of 5 children. You have lived one of the most scrutinized, polarizing, and chaotic American lives of the last decade. So, once again, welcome to the show. And just a couple of things to crank out. Everybody gets a gift. Got you a couple gifts. So those are Vigilance League gummy bears made here in the USA, up in Michigan, legal in all 50 states. So you're not going to sabotage your sobriety. Yeah. But and then I got you
these. Are these what's the principal ingredient in these?
It's just sugar.
Just okay.
It's literally just sugar. Yeah, I was going to do CBD gummies because I have sleep problems.
Yeah.
And then my marketer was like, "You're going to get sued for catering CBD to kids and gummy bears." And I said, "Fine, we'll just do fucking."
I'm all for sugar, man.
Right on.
Yeah, thank you.
And then I got you something else. And this is, so I know you grew up Catholic. I don't know where you stand today, but that is from one of my friends, a really good friend of mine over at SEAL Team 6, was at SEAL Team 6, and he has since retired, and he calls those the Warrior's Rosary.
I love this. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
It means the world to me, for real.
You're welcome. And I carry one of those around with me everywhere for protection. In fact, mine's in my pocket right now. So
thank you. My dad wears one on his wrist.
No kidding?
Brother. Yeah, so he says. Yeah.
Right on, man.
This means a lot to me. I brought you a gift. It's in the other room, but I'll show you at the break.
Perfect.
Amazing
Perfect.
Painting. But I really, really appreciate this. It's really meaningful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And then the last thing before we get into it, I have a Patreon account. It's a subscription account, and it's turned into one hell of a community. And so what do I offer them the opportunity to ask every single guest a question. And this is from Ian Lane. You've spoken openly about addiction, loss, and recovery while living under intense public scrutiny. How do you reconcile taking personal responsibility for your actions while also resisting being reduced to your worst moments?
Yeah. You know, I was talking to some of you guys before we came in here, and one of the things that I was, I think that people would be the most surprised about me is that the past 6 years of my life, since I got clean and sober, those years in which all of this scrutiny, descended upon me. Like, people say, you must be used to this. Your dad's been in politics his whole life. There's nothing nothing that I've ever experienced, or I know anybody else that's ever experienced. I mean, I was on I think the cover of the New York Post more times in one year than anybody in the history of the paper going back to like 1780, and none of it was good.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know that.
At one point, the New York Post uh, was publishing like 2.5 articles about me a day
Wow.
for like months long period of time. And again, none of it was good. And then you had Daily Mail, and you had the whole kind of right. Anyway, my point being is this: is that there's scrutiny, and then there's just like complete and utter, like, living in a glass house naked, in with the lights on 24/7, and that's what it was like. And so it forced me to make a decision, particularly in early recovery, which was this: when I wake up in the morning, do I want to live or do I want to die? And when you choose to live, it's not that you realize you're making the choice not on your terms, on life's terms. I choose to live on life's terms. Whatever comes my way is I got to make a choice. Because, and when I say live or die, I mean this, is that I still am absolutely certain that if I touch a drink or a drug, I'm dead. It's a matter of life and death for me. Now, I think that you can relapse, and people have been able to, but I don't think that I can. And so I was given that gift of utter, complete desperation to remain clean and sober. And you've been through it, and that's a beautiful thing to have. And the other thing that it did for me is it forced me on a daily basis to realize how fucking lucky I am. I don't know. I mean, I talk about it in my book, and but I was making a decision on a daily basis to kill myself, but it was the coward's way.
How would you have done it?
Well, drinking and drugging, to the degree that I was drinking a handle of vodka a day. Mm-hmm. I mean, which is worse than the amount of crack that I was smoking. The problem with the crack is the positions that you put you in order to get it. That was the most dangerous part about the crack. The most dangerous part to my physical body was alcohol, by far and away, in terms of the way in which it impacts every organ in your body. And it's the only drug that you can die from other than benzos for withdrawing from. And so that's what I was doing to myself. And when I accepted the miracle of believing that there's something greater than myself that could help me get clean and sober, I lived in with that realization at the front of my brain every morning that I woke up, and still do. So, despite the perspective that anyone would have from the outside world, understandably, whether you love me or you hate me, I would suggest, if you hate me, you don't know me. Get to know me, then you can hate me. Mm-hmm. But regardless, is that it has been the last 6.5 years, despite everything that has gone on, has been the most incredibly difficult but fulfilling a period of my life. Yeah, I feel. I know myself better than I've ever known myself in my whole life now. And I'm still learning. But I feel more comfortable in my skin today than I've ever felt in my skin.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Man, just doing the math and thinking about the last 6 years, of what we've been through in this country, and then to think about what what you have been through in your first 6 years of sobriety. I mean, holy shit, dude, that is your dad's campaign,
Yeah.
4 years in the White House, and then the first year of the Trump administration. I mean, wow, that's a lot to go through for your first 6 fucking years of sobriety.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it, man. I'm really, I have to say, I know that I haven't handled it all. Uh, I'm, I'm, by no stretch of any imagination, I mean, remotely perfect, to say the least. But I am really proud of at least that.
Good.
I'm proud of my recovery.
Good. Should be.
Yeah.
All right, Hunter, you ready?
I'm ready, man.
Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Wilmington, Delaware. Um, Wilmington is about 30 minutes outside of Philadelphia, south of Philly, and Delaware is, as everybody knows, a really small state. And when my dad was 29 years old, he ran against a three-term incumbent senator, a guy named Caleb Boggs, who then became a friend of my dad's after. But that nobody thought that he would win. He was 29. He was too young to be sworn in when he was elected. And it was 1972, and he won by a few thousand votes. And he became the youngest ever elected member of the United States Senate that wasn't appointed, as they were before like 1935. And despite the fact that my dad was a United States senator, Delaware's a really small state. And when my mom and my sister were killed in that accident, my brother and I were in the back seat, and it's amazing. I just got a letter from someone. It said the woman, and I literally just got it. And when I was I just saw it for the first time on the plane. The woman, and I didn't even know this story, that was on, she was an off-duty nurse, and she drove by the scene in which we got struck by a tractor trailer that was coming down a hill on this like 4-lane road or 2-lane road, and my mom pulled out into the intersection, I guess, and Bo and I were trapped in the car, and according to this note that I just got, everybody just thought that we were dead. And so we were in the car for an extended period of time. And the nurse came onto the scene. She just was passing by. And she's the one that reached in and gave us the first aid to save our lives.
Whoa.
And I never met her.
And you just got a letter from her?
Yeah, I just got a letter from one of her family's members saying that she just passed away and that she thought that I would want to know. Isn't that amazing?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I literally have to only tell the story because that it was a really, really violent and horrific event. My brother ended up in the hospital. Well, both of us ended up in the hospital for an extended period of time. My biggest issue was I had serious brain trauma, and my brother was basically in a body cast for, in traction for a long time.
Shit.
But the amazing part is that the Delaware is a small state. I mean, the state adopted us. Really, like, I have more aunts and uncles that I grew up with. And in that respect, my dad came from a normal middle class family, and he entered the United States Senate, a normal middle class guy, and I said he made a he made a vow in 1972 because it was right prior to the beginning of Watergate, and you had Spiro Agnew, and he made a pledge that he would never own a stock or a bond, and he hasn't, other than through whatever retirement account that he has with the United States government.
Wow.
And he's a goddamn mother. Because I have some legal bills that I could use some of the stocks or a bond. But my point is that uh, despite the fact that my dad was a United States senator my whole life, Delaware's a really small place, and so if I got pulled over for speeding, my brother and I on our way to school, it wasn't like, it was like your dad Joe's gonna kick your asses. You know what I mean? That was kind of the way in which we grew up, because my dad commuted every day. He decided that my aunt moved into the house, and my uncle built a apartment above the little garage that we had, and he moved in for a period of time, and we spent almost every other day, at least, with my grandparents, and so we were raised, and then we got remarried when I was 7, Bo was 8, and so I had a pretty normal life, and out of that tragedy, I kind of gained a whole kind of extended family that maybe I wouldn't have otherwise. It was a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And my relationship with my brother, I literally, I think one way or another, except when he was in Iraq for a year, I talked to him, my brother, at least once a day.
Really?
Yeah. And we were inseparable, and we used to fight and beat the shit out of each other like brothers too. But yeah. He was the closest thing I had in the world.
What kind of stuff were you into as a kid?
Sports,
Sports?
Yeah.
What kind of sports?
I played football, but when I was much younger, I played everything. But then in high school, football. Yeah. But we did everything. You know what I mean? I mean, how old are you?
43.
Yeah, so I'm 55. So you're the tail end of, I mean, you're actually, no, you're not. But like, we spent our lives outside. Like the rule was when the street lights went on and you had to come in.
Yeah.
And so we just literally, and whether it was, summer, winter, it didn't matter. We spent our entire time outside on BMXs and skateboards and, in the pond behind the house. And, all we did was, shoot BB guns at each other.
Nice.
So, yeah.
What, what's it like growing up in politics and the political
Well, that's
elite?
what I'm trying to say, is that for us, I didn't grow up in DC.
Yeah.
My dad never had it. I never experienced that, DC insider. And that's maybe why I have such an amazing disdain for the people that continue to, like, one of the things that you realize about DC and about being a United States Senator, in Congress, is that there are a lot of people that give the true blood, sweat, and tears to become elected. But there's like a permanent power class in DC. I'm not talking about like some shadow government, they're identifiable people that go from administration to administration, that go from, working for one think tank to another. And my dad was never a part of that. He came home every night. He famously hated to fundraise, and he didn't need to fundraise that much because we come from a state of just under 1 million people, and so in many respects, I get a very, very normal life. I went to a little Quaker school, and then I went to St. Edmund's Academy, and I think I got more demerits than anyone in the history, according to somebody I just saw in the history of that school. And I went to the Catholic high school that my dad went to, and then I went to Georgetown. I worked for the Jesuit Volunteer Corps when I got out of school. It's like domestic Peace Corps. You know what I mean? But in terms of growing up in politics, the only thing that I can say is that we had an incredible, we had a rule, which was, it was based out of the accident, is that Bo and I could go with my dad anywhere if we asked. And we also knew enough not to take advantage of it to the degree that it became like to get out of, the math test or something like that. But we did take advantage of it to the degree we went everywhere with my dad. That's what,
Really?
me, Bo, and my dad, like everywhere. And the rule was, you speak when you're spoken to. And if you're going to sit in a meeting, since we were 5 years old, is you go up and you shake somebody's hand. You say, "Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you, ma'am." And then if you want to stay in the room, then you sit and you sit quietly until you're spoken to, and we love to do that.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, so we were with my dad. We went everywhere together, everywhere, and what a gift, I mean, like, and so we would go get on a train with him, and we'd go and sit in the cloakroom while he would go out and on the Senate floor. But then we would leave. So unlike other United States senators and their families or Congress people that move their families to D.C. and get a house in Georgetown and go to St. Albans and go to all the same restaurants, Bo and I, like, we're a little shadow of a United States senator, but then we get back on the train and go back to Delaware. And so, in that respect, it was a really unique kind of life, and one that I never didn't have. My dad's so proud.
So you were like really close with your dad.
Oh, he was so proud. The thing he loved to do more than anything is take people. He would literally, we would be walking in the Senate, and he would run into some tourists from Jiminy. I mean, like, it didn't matter what state, and because they'd be like asking somebody how to get somewhere. He'd go, "Come on," and he would take them, to all these corners of the Capitol and show them like the chambers that nobody gets to go in. And if the Senate wasn't in session, he'd take them to the Senate floor and open other senators' desks for them. It would just be some like Republican, tourist from Des Moines or Omaha. I mean, literally. And I love that with my dad. He's so proud. He knew every story of every great person that had come before him, and I got to sit, spent a lot of time with people of names that nobody would remember, but they were kind of like our babysitters to Bo and I, and people that would kind of be shocked in terms of the politics. Almost all of them, not all of them, but a great deal of them, Republicans, very conservative Republicans. I mean, I suggest if you want to read something about the way in which my dad served as a United States Senator, go read his eulogy for Strom Thurmond.
Okay.
And for whoever listening to this, Strom Thurmond, started the Dixiecrat Party because he broke from the Democratic Party based upon their position on civil rights and on the Voting Rights Act. And over a very, very long period of time, Strom Thurmond very much changed, but he led a career that was incredibly divisive as it relates. But my dad was able to work with them, and he was able to work with people like Jesse Helms, and I think that he had more success in terms of bipartisan legislation than any president in modern history. And one of the reasons is because he was trusted by Mitch McConnell and the people that had worked with him for decades in the Republican Party. But anyway, that was my life. And so it was very, very normal in the respect of, like, Went to Catholic day school and went to a Catholic high school my dad went to. Played football. I got in trouble. I, got in fights, made it through, and not completely unscathed, but with an incredibly tight knit, close family, and pretty idyllic childhood combined with this experience that I don't know of anybody that I know of that had, at least during that period of time, as a kid, was able to witness some of the things that Bo and I were able to witness.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was really, really amazing. Yeah.
How was it when? How are you and Jill's relationship? Are you
Very close.
very close?
Yeah.
How was it when she came into the picture when you were a kid? Sounds like you were about 5.
Yeah. And so my mom, I was just about 3. I was a month or so away from turning 3 when my mom died. And Bo was just before his 4th birthday. Bo and I were a year and a day apart, February 3rd and 4th. And my sister was 13 months younger, and she obviously passed in the accident. And I guess my dad and my mom met like a couple years later, and then I think that's, famously my dad asked my mom to marry him like 5 times before she said yes. And she explains it this way: is that she was so in love with Bo and I, and she loved my dad, but she was so scared that she would, that it was so, and I love that about her, is that, and I don't want to speak for my mom, but she was, but yeah, my mom Bo and I asked her, we literally got our dad by the hand and went into the room, and we said, will you marry us? It was our idea to do it. Yeah.
That's how it.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that's when she finally said yes. With the assist from Bo and I. Yeah.
Do you remember doing that?
I 100% remember.
No
doing
kidding.
That. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And so when people said call her my stepmom or refer to, is that she's my mom. I mean, I have Bo and I always referred, because from the age it was mommy, it was mom. And my mom has always been incredibly reverential about my birth mom, my Nelia, and has always given us the space to honor that. And, it's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.
I credit all that to my dad too. Being able to thread that needle. I tell you what, he's the best dad I've ever read about, heard about, and I swear to God, I'm not just saying that. Is that, it's not an easy job, and I'm sure he thinks he's made mistakes, but I don't. Anyway, so yeah, that was kind of what it was like growing up. So I got no excuses, Shawn.
I gotcha.
So all my fuck ups are my own. Yeah, that's what I've come to the determination of.
Hey, that's a good way to be, right?
Yeah, man.
Extreme ownership.
Well, that was one of the questions, is that I think you said, is the accountability piece of it. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, last 6 years, I know that we'll get to this part because it's the end of or at least the end of the beginning of the story is the pardon. But I think that I paid a price. Definitely paid a price.
Yeah.
Maybe people don't think it's enough, and I don't think they will ever think that it's enough. But I promise you, and maybe you know this too, is that Nobody can hold you accountable more harshly than you hold yourself.
Yeah.
And I've been there, and I'm over it, and I'm done with it, and I'm not going to live in that guilt and shame anymore.
Good for you.
And I am I'm at peace, and knowing that I'm still trying to figure things out. You know what I mean? I try to do the next right thing, but sometimes I fuck up still. I think less and less, and never because of not trying.
What kind of what are the discussions like at the Biden dinner table nowadays? I mean, do you guys talk about politics? Do you talk about
Can
all
you
this shit?
believe he fucking said that?
Really? It's still, is it, or do you guys totally just
No, we're just like any other
disassociate
family.
from all of
Not
it?
at all. I mean, Jesus Christ. I say to people, you know, I mean, here's the bullshit. And I know maybe we'll get to this at some point, but I don't want to. But I don't want to spend time on it because, like, in defense, my dad got old.
Mm-hmm.
He got old in front of people's eyes.
Mm-hmm.
He literally lost a step, like literally lost a physical step. But he didn't lose a step in terms of his capacity and his capability, in terms of his intellectual ability to be the president of the United States. So all this bullshit about, Joe Biden didn't know what was going on and find one person to go on the record, one person that is actually worked for or worked with Joe Biden. Like, here's my problem with Jake Tapper, okay? Who wrote a book, the other guy wrote the book and Jake Tapper slapped his name on it, but wrote a book without one single on-the-record source to say that it was a kind of open secret that Joe Biden was mentally incapacitated.